ask any female who just turned 30 how they felt, what answers do you expect?
Well, I've never felt stronger and better.
They say age is just a number. You are however age you think you are. I think that's true as long as you keep living. As the saying goes, some people die at 25 and are not buried until 75. As I turned 30 this month, I sat down and had a really long reflection about my pretty undramatic life so far. And I think my current life is pretty good. I have a shelter, I'm healthy, I have a career and people that I care about. This is not me trying to tell you what to do, but things that help me become who I am today by quitting. So I wrote out this list of 30 things I quit for turning 30, from the basis that we cannot start something until we quit something first. Contrary to popular opinion, quitting is for winners, as Stephen Bartlett said. Somewhere in our 20s, we picked up habits and beliefs about the world that might not serve us, and I pay continuous and conscious effort in challenging my thoughts and my status quo. So here are the 30 things that I quit in order to become a healthier, more calm and the best version of myself yet. Keep watching if you want to be inspired about what to change or what next step to take. I loosely categorize them under mental models, behaviors, emotions, careers, and other general life stuff and in relation to others. Feel free to jump around based on the timestamps below. I have a couple of things that I quit under mental models. The first one is having an opinion on everything, because you don't need to. If someone asks, you can just say, I don't have an opinion, or I haven't done enough research, so I don't need to have my say, because you really don't. Like if something comes up on the news, most people will quickly take sides, and I don't find it helpful, but it's up to you. I don't need to broadcast all my thoughts out, right? And I think most of the time my opinions don't matter anyway. And related to opinions, the second thing I quit is listening to others' opinion. I think we have to really be careful about what opinions or advice we take into. Make sure whoever you're following is someone that you want to become. Otherwise, don't take their advice. If I listen to everyone's opinion, I won't be sitting here filming videos, because people will just say, oh, you suck, this doesn't help me, what's the whole point, blah blah blah. You just do your own thing, because life is too short. Very cliche, I know, but this is something that I quit and I will continue to do that. I know it's hard. As a people pleaser my whole life, I really listen to anyone's opinion and that I will change direction frequently. I don't think it's a good trait. Just know what you want and then just go get it. And opinions are not fact anyway. So you have to go test for yourself and see what works for you. The third thing I quit is wallowing in the past. So this is a rather funny one. When I was trying to build my identity as a musician, I really thought that in order to create the best emotional work that would resonate with other people, I would have to be drunk and stay awake at 3 a.m. trying to write something, or trying to go through my past journal entries in order to find out the pain points so that I could write. And eventually I found out it just didn't work. First of all, it harmed my physical health, also my mental health, and I just was not productive at 3 a.m. That only happened really occasionally if I can't sleep or if I woke up from a dream, then I got some images that I could write about. But that's a rare case. And I just don't think wallowing in the past does anyone any benefit. You feel bad and then you replay those kind of scenes in your head and then you just feel sad again. If there is any regret, then I will make it a principle to not repeat the same decision ever again. And there is just no point wallowing in the past because you can't change it. Next one, mental masturbation. So according to Google, mental masturbation is the act of following intellectual ideas that are born out of excitement and or novelty, but offer little value to you and your real life goals. So I unconsciously did that for a couple of years now, by first listening to podcasts that are motivational, and then was okay, this concept is great, I'm gonna be more productive, I'm gonna get through the day, achieve all my goals, stuff like that. But then eventually it's just masturbation. Over the years, I stored so many great personal development concepts in my head, but I never really applied that. And you know what? Knowledge is an applied currency. If you take in some information and you don't do anything about that, it does not change your life. You have to just go do the damn thing. There is a point when you do need to learn certain concepts. For example, trying to learn more about yourself, about human psychology, human behaviors, that kind of thing. But then eventually you have to take action. So stop doing the mental masturbations, stop trying to store all your stoic quotes somewhere and not taking action because it will not help your life. Next thing I quit, staying in comfort zone. When I reflected on my life so far, I realized that all the good things happened outside the comfort zone. For example, how I changed my career, how I left my hometown many times, how I grow my muscles, and even how I handle relationships because I have to go do the hard thing. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. And I made it a point to be really adventurous in all aspects in life so that I don't stay stagnant. So yeah, growth is a continuous journey, and as you grow, you will expand your comfort zone. That's why you have to keep doing something to keep growing. Next, I used to think that I'm not good enough in many ways. How I look, my accent, my career, my qualifications, whatever. And I think it's such a detrimental mindset to have because it makes you small. And then you don't want to try new things because you just think it won't be good enough. So this is something I realized and then I quit. I have to be good enough in everything I do, and I just try to be a little bit better every day. Next, having expectation on anyone or anything. I think this is huge and I still have a lot to learn. I feel like in today's society, most of our unhappiness or dissatisfaction comes from the fact that we expect people or expect things to be in a certain way. But then when things don't work our way, which always happens, we get angry, disappointed, frustrated, whatever. And I feel like this is just a behavior of putting our emotions and happiness on something that we don't have control of. Because we don't know how things will go, or we don't know how certain people will behave. But then why do we have so much expectation on someone or something? Especially if those expectations are not communicated well, it's just a disaster. I feel like it's good to be aware of what kind of expectations you have towards anything. Like, is it realistic? Is it reasonable? And then you try to manage your expectations so that you won't feel unhappy or disappointed all the time. So this is something that I quit, and then whenever good things happen, I can be grateful and be surprised. And this is how I start appreciating all the little things in life because I don't take anything for granted. Next thing I quit, neglecting my own needs. I was a recovering people pleaser. I said yes to anything, and I felt like my cup was not fulfilled before I had to provide for other people. That's why I stopped doing that, and now I do pay attention to my own needs and wants by prioritizing myself every single day. I make sure the first and the last hour of the day is spent on myself, whether that be journaling, exercising, reflection, whatever. Next, thinking that only if I get X, then I will be happy. This mindset caused me so much stress and anxiety and frustration that I've been battling for a few years now until I actually realized I've been doing the same thing again and again, so I quit. Because you shouldn't delay happiness, you shouldn't delay gratitude. Like, you can be happy now. You don't need to only achieve certain things, then you'll be happy. It's not how things work. Like, my current frustration is not having the ideal lifestyle that I want, but if I look back, I'm actually living my best life already. My past self will be really proud of me, but I'm still going through the hedonic treadmills thinking that only if I achieve that, then I will be happy. It's just a bad mindset to have, so I quit. And the next one is the psychological concept that I quit. Jumping to conclusion too quickly. Sometimes someone said something and I just jump to conclusion thinking he meant something, but it's not how things work usually, and I should just stop overthinking and try to communicate better, stuff like that. Next, I used to think that being thin equals being healthy and pretty. I don't know if it's just me or the culture when I grew up with. Everyone was like that. And then if you're not meeting that standard, then you're considered fat. I remember, like, during the beginning of my high school, I used to start paying attention to what I ate, and then I started to just try not to eat a lot. But then, like, during that age is actually when you needed nutrition the most. So it's not healthy, I know. And it also impacted the way I see myself in terms of my body image and all that. And also getting into Instagram make everything worse. So I quit that mindset. Now I just look at my figures. I do the DEXA scan and all that, trying to make sure that I have enough muscle mass because I really prioritize longevity over the society standard of what is pretty. The next mindset that I quit is just be okay in regards to your own standard. I feel like it's important to raise your standard and not just be mediocre or okay. And one question that really helped me all the time is, what would you be doing if no one is watching? Would you still complete the last rep? Would you still finish the session notes despite knowing that no one's gonna read them? Would you maintain your habit and baby steps because it contributes to your long-term goals? I feel like consistency and holding a high standard for yourself really lies in the baby tiny steps that you take every single day. And if no one's watching and then you slack off, then you're not holding yourself accountable. That's why I quit that just okay mindset. And the last thing that I quit in regards to thoughts and stuff like that is the need to be right all the time. Even if you win an argument or you're right, then what? Does that help your life in any way? Sometimes it's also like a confirmation bias, and then you prove yourself right, then you trust whatever belief or worldview that you have more, and then you might be more close-minded because you just don't see other people's opinions or perspectives. Next, on behaviours. The first one is that I quit Instagram. It started in late May this year. You can watch the video here about why I quit and what's been going on for the first 30 days. And I still have accounts, but I don't have an app on any of my devices, and I really do have to log in, typing username and password if I want to access them. But the main reason being that I reflected that it really impacted the way I see myself in terms of body image and how I see other people's success in not the good way. And also I feel like my behaviors of like constantly scrolling just isn't doing me any benefit, so I just quit. And I know that human beings have like a tendency to keep distracting ourselves with other stuff, which I know that I have, but quitting Instagram is not a decision that I regret, and I will continue doing that until the time comes. The next one related to like the information thing is I quit reading or watching the news or listening to radios, and try to limit the times that I get exposed to advertisement. I know it's everywhere. We are bombarded with information every single day, every single minute, if you're not careful. And I really try to embrace this concept of information diet. I think it's coined by Tim Ferriss, I don't know, but he mentioned that in the 4-hour work week, like, because your input shapes your output. So whatever you take in will unconsciously shape your mindset and your worldview, and then you will start to change your behavior based on whatever you take in. Like if you surround yourself with people who won't leave their hometown their whole life, then you might start to think like that and you will never explore the world outside. And obviously that applies to reading, watching the news, because by definition news only reports like depressing or the negative things, try to trigger the anger or more reactions on social media as well. And I don't think it's a good thing, because I don't want all my attention to be drawn to the negative side of the world. I know something bad is happening outside, but even if I know that, it won't change my current life in any way. So why would I want to mess up my mood? So I just don't read or watch news. If something is big enough, I would definitely hear that from someone else, so I'm not concerned. The next behavior that I quit is being a people pleaser. As I mentioned earlier, I tended to say yes before thinking. I was the yes girl, and now I learned to set boundaries. I try to think from my core values if that decision would fit into that. If it's not a hell yes or no thing, then no. The next thing I quit is staying up late for no reason. I know I sound pretty old by now, but I really try to not stay up late or try to just maintain my good routines 85% of the days. Yeah, I try to get into good habits and routines and prioritize my sleep, because I know that sleep is the number one foundation that we need to maintain at all costs. Yes, I can't afford to lose my sleep. Only occasionally when I'm traveling, then I will stay up late because that's a fun thing to do. But on most days, I just quit staying up late for absolutely no reason. The next thing I quit is waiting for permission or for people to ask me out in general. It's a bit weird to think about that, but I try to be more proactive, try to take more initiative, and also selective in who I hang out with and what kind of things I want to achieve in my career. I mainly realized that waiting for permission is such a weird thing, because most probably you don't, and you can apologize later if something bad happens. So yeah, these days I do try to just do my own thing, test my own things, and if things don't go well, then I can explain. Next thing I quit is buying fancy handbags. When I was an accountant in Hong Kong, I was just into all these material things. I have all the fancy shoes and handbags. But now I just don't need that. After pandemic, after I changed my career, now all I carry is instruments and I have to drive, so there's just no use for these handbags. So I just quit buying those and I quit following the trend or the fashion. I prioritize comfort or practicality over brand names. The next thing I quit is to react before I think and respond. In terms of communication, usually before I type or speak, I would think, like, does that benefit anyone? Is that worth mentioning? If it's not, then just don't say it out. Because reacting means you do not have time to process, and I don't want that because that would make me make more rash decisions and I might harm other people on the way. So yeah, I try to respond rather than to react these days. And I feel like consuming less news will make you less reactive because you're not that agitated all the time. The next behavioral thing I quit is kind of related to the standard I mentioned earlier. It's about doing the easy things, because I believe that if you choose the easy option, you have a hard life later, and vice versa. That's why I do try to pay attention to the hard things that I do on a daily basis, like working out and trying to think more, reflect on my life more so I can make better decisions so that later on I won't regret and I can live longer and healthier. And the next thing I quit is to save money by spending more time. I always drive past this petrol station. It's always a few cents cheaper than the 7-Elevens next door, but then there will be queues all the time. But then if you really think about that, I believe that most people's hourly rate is higher than those few cents difference, but then they still queue. People will still travel a long way just to get a $5 deal or something. And when you figure out that the time is the most valuable resource that you can't afford to lose, but you can always earn more money, your mindset will change and your behavior will change. So nowadays, I sometimes prioritize convenience over spending more time. And I try not to go all my way just to save a few bucks. It's not worth it. Next, 2 things on emotions that I quit. Big ones. The first one is excessive worrying, overthinking, however you want to call it. Ever since I stumbled into Stoicism, I try to really embrace that in my life in terms of figuring out what is under my control, what is under my influence, and what is not under my control. And that really helped me in thinking less about the things that won't really contribute to anything. I feel like this mindset really helped me in terms of managing my negative emotions and trying to make me be better, just to be less anxious, because some things are just not in my control, so I can stop thinking about that. The next emotion I quit is jealousy. I think it's a big one. I think Chris Williamson once mentioned in the podcast or interview that you cannot take a certain trait or the good part of someone and wish that you could have that, because it's actually a onesie, it's a whole package. If you want, your idol's beauty, the fame, success, you have to take the whole life, the childhood trauma, or whatever worries at the back of their head as well. You have to take in their routines, the whole life. You can't just take certain traits and wish you can become that. You might be jealous that someone has achieved something, but what is the cause of someone achieving those? You have to take in the whole thing. And most probably you won't want to take in other people's burden. So at best, you can only be yourself. So I feel like jealousy is actually not a very productive or helpful emotion. And I occasionally still get that, especially if I ever scroll social media, which is another reason I feel like it's not beneficial to me, because everyone just want to post the best self or the highlight reels on their feed. And yeah, it doesn't help with the emotional side, so I quit feeling jealous and Instagram. Okay, what did I quit in terms of my career? First of all, it's the jobs that don't spark joy. I used to teach piano a little bit, and obviously I had 5 years of experience in accounting. It did not spark joy, for sure. So I quit. And life is too short to suffer from things that you don't enjoy. And I'm not contributing to the world. I'm not really providing value. I'm not really serving the world as I want to be. I'm not using my strength. So I quit. It doesn't spark joy, so what's the whole point? The next thing I quit is identifying myself just by my career. For example, if I introduce myself to a new friend, I might say, oh, I'm a music therapist, but that actually links my identity to that. What if one day I lost my job? What if one day I broke my voice or broke my arm so I couldn't sing or play piano anymore? That would really have a huge impact on my self-worth. And I think it's a really dangerous thing to tie your identity just to your career. Diversification is key, and I also feel like there are many ways to describe yourself, and you are many things. You're not just insert your job title. So yeah, this is the thing that I quit. Now I don't even mention my job title to any new friends. I will try to describe things like I make music with other people. If they think I'm a musician, let them think that. I don't really care, because I really make music with other people and I enjoy that, and this is me. The next 4 things that I quit is about life in general and in relation to others. The first one is being ignorant on your physical health and what you put in your mouth, which is your diet. When I was an accountant, I remember I was very unfit at that time. I was never obese because of my genetics, but then just not healthy. And I was not aware of what I put in my mouth. I snacked a lot and I always felt a lack of energy because I was not taking in the good food. Ever since I'm on this fitness journey, I completely changed, and now I'm very, very aware of what I put in my mouth, what I put in my mind, and how much I move every single day. And I think that's the best investment you can do for your own sake. The next thing I quit is following society's script. Like, you have to get married by 30, which is now. You have to get a mortgage, you have to get a pet, get kids and all that. And I don't follow that trend anymore. So yeah, I have more videos on that. You can check out if you want to. But this is how I define my own freedom. And I will try my best my whole life to not live by the society script. Next, I quit a certain misery. Whenever you face a decision, you usually have that discomfort because of the unknown on the other side. But then you know that whatever life that you are experiencing right now is a certain misery. For example, when I was an accountant, I wanted to quit my whole life because it's just miserable every single day. That part was certain. But what was really holding me back was that the unknown on the other side. What if I quit? What if I couldn't get into music therapy? What would I do? That kind of unknown made me so anxious, and that's how I struggled to quit. Because people would always prefer certainty, even if it's miserable. Understanding this concept would make you be more adventurous or courageous in trying to make a decision to prioritize the unknown. It might be good over the certain misery. And that is also related to getting out of your comfort zone, because the good things happen outside that. If you want to grow, if you want to improve, if you want to be happier, it's always outside. You have to work for that. The last thing that I quit is to accept things as they are. I try to always challenge why things are the way they are now, how things work, and for example, why do certain policies exist. I always challenge things, and I will ask why, and I will try to think from the first principle, like what's the easiest way to get something done? Do I really need all these procedures or protocols here? Stuff like that. This is very applicable to my own productivity system as well, because and most of the time things are just they are because of habit or because of accumulated stuff. But then if you really challenge the way how things work, then you will always find an easier way. Then you are almost guaranteed that you will find an easier and quicker way to get things done. So this is the whole list of things that I quit. Do you think I'm a loser? It's up to you to judge. But I don't care anyway, because this is your opinion. If you like this video, you will also like this custom playlist I created for you. It got all my popular videos about personal development and becoming the best version of yourself. If you're particularly interested in how I use Notion to manage my emotional health, check out this video here, templates included. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.